Good afternoon and welcome back to the West Ham Network. This is your Hammers Headlines. This show is in association with the guys over at KUMB.com. Knees up, Mother Brown. Make sure you do go and check out all their content. Of course, this is the West Ham Network. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Of course, leave a comment, give us your honest feedback. And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, why not click that membership option? Now, there is plenty to talk about as a West Ham fan. Of course, there is. And if you haven't already joined myself and my dad for our mini preview we did earlier on today, then go and check it out. We discuss Paqueta and is there a doubt in Paqueta, but considering he came off a little bit early in the game against Southampton holding his collarbone. Now, just keep an eye out on Paqueta. There's nothing confirmed at all, so we'll wait and see what happens, and hopefully he will be fit for the game. And he wasn't particularly discussed in the press conference, so fingers crossed that will be okay as things move along. However, it was the David Moyes press conference today, and as we always do, we need to bring you the update from the session with David Moyes today. So the first question on everyone's lips was all about this, the team news, and that is, he said, Kurt has done a little bit of training. Don't know if it's going to make him right yet. Craig Dawson, we're unsure about. Probably not much change from where we were on Sunday. Now, for everyone that doesn't know, of course, the situation for West Ham was that we lost Dawson and Zuma to the game against Southampton on Sunday, which isn't great. It's not great, and we had to do with a makeshift back line. Now, I am pretty confident on the basis of what David Moyes said that at least one of the players mentioned will be available for the game. But again, Moyes has really changed his approach to his press conferences and really doesn't give anything away at all. You don't know when these players will feature, will they not feature, are they going to be back or will they not, unless he categorically says no, and he did not categorically say no to these players. Now, listen, I'd never thought at the start of the season that we would be struggling, especially in defence, with injuries and problems back there, but we find ourselves in a situation. Dawson missing, Zuma missing, Ogbonna on the bench with a little bit of a niggle, Aguerd obviously injured, and last thing you thought was that we'd be doing a makeshift defence, but I think the players can step up to the equation. I think they did all right against Southampton, and Liverpool's a whole new dynamic, so we're going to need to be firing on all cylinders. And of course, you want someone back there who is like a brick wall who can nullify any threat for them coming forward. Now, we're going to have players like Salah to contend with. He's got pace, so we're going to need pace back there to deal with him. So I don't know how I feel about having two slow-ish players back there, but we will have to wait and see. And of course, I'm not the manager, so we'll have to wait and see what Mr. David Moyes decides to do. Now, next up, he was asked particularly about Max Corney. Now, Max Corney obviously has had a calf strain. He said Maxi has had a little bit of a calf strain. He's getting close. He's probably going to start training this week, but he's not ready yet to know. So there you go. There's your confirmation that Max Corney will not make the game against Liverpool. And yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm a bit gutted for him because I really rate him highly. I think he's an effective player for us. And I think when he does come back into the setup, it's going to be again like a new signing. And I think he's a really effective footballer, and he knows how to create opportunities. And I think once he gets a goal under his belt, he'll start firing in goals left, right, and centre because he's created so many chances, and he should have had a goal. He should have had a goal against Chelsea. I know we can keep going on about it, but it's true. He should have, but we will see. So disappointing that he won't be available, but good news that he is on his way back. And he is along and way back alongside this man. And as you can see from the title, Aguerd to feature. Now, let me explain what Moyes actually said about him. He said, really good news that he's on his way back. We bought him in as a key player for us, and he gets injured in just about the first preseason game. Really difficult for us, but he's very close. He started training. He's not fully integrated with the players yet, as far as that goes, but he's getting closer to playing again. I definitely think he could feature before the World Cup, but I couldn't tell you if it's a week's time or 2 weeks' time quite yet because he's had no match practice. He's not been involved in the Premier League yet. I think it's more likely we'll maybe look to get him games in Europe or under 21 games or something like that before we get him in the Premier League. So that is fantastic news for us West Ham fans. It's huge news to think that we've got Aguerd coming back. Let me tell you something about this man. I watched a little bit of Ligue 1 And the one thing I noticed when I looked at Ligon last year when he was playing for Rennes was it wasn't that I was saying he was stand out. It was his pace. He's frighteningly fast. And when you do a little bit of the scout report, you see that he is on par with Mbappe, is what they say. He's one of the only players in the league that could have kept up with Mbappe. So we've got a player there who's got the ability to play the ball from the back, can defend, and has got pace. And I think that's something we've obviously lacked in our defence for such a long time. So having him coming back is such a nice thought. Now, of course, we've not seen him properly in a West Ham shirt, and what David Moyes says is he is close. He will feature before the World Cup. It's just what competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in Europe coming up over the next week or so. And then if he gets a good run out and does all right, I think he could make the transition into the Premier League quicker from that, and that's huge. That's huge. It'll be like a new signing when we bring Aguerd in. So he will have to have a little bit of time to adapt to the league as well. So we've got to give him that benefit of the doubt. But fingers crossed he can hit the ground running and get West Ham firing all cylinders in the back line. Next up, though, Moyes was asked about the schedule. So he said, we're smiling and we're trying to keep enjoying things. We're trying to keep training as light and as easy for them as possible. It's very difficult to prepare all of the time, especially the Thursday, Sunday games. They make it very difficult. Let's be fair. We don't have too many Premier League games which come on a weekend and then midweek, but we've got one this week and we have to get ready as best as we can. And it's going to be a tough one. Liverpool away at Anfield. You know, we've never really particularly travelled well there over the last few years, but I think we can, I think it all depends on what West Ham turns up. This is the key question for me. The key point I would like to make is what West Ham actually is going to turn up against Liverpool. If we turn up with the intensity to try and take the game to Liverpool and not respect the opponents to a certain extent, but not respect them too much, then we've got a chance here. We've got a chance here. Scamacca and Antonio causing their struggling defense this season. Yes, albeit they held Haaland and dealt with him quite tightly. There could be a mix of the fact that it was a lot of tactical decisions made from Guardiola, which changed the game against Liverpool and allowed the defenders to do the job that they were trying to do. But I think for me, Scamacca and Antonio are different outlets and they're definitely there for the taking. We just need to turn up. Let's not underestimate Liverpool's form so far this season, though, and go and get the job done. So it's important. Listen, if we can walk away with a point or 3, then we would be saying we've got 8 points from 12. And I think I would have taken that 4 games ago in the Premier League. So minimum requirement is let's go and get a point at Anfield. Minimum, that is. Then he was asked about Liverpool themselves. He says, in football terms, it's probably as hard as a place to go in the world to go and try to win a football game for anybody. You saw that with probably the best manager in the world was found it difficult to go there and get a result. That's why it's difficult for us all. 100%. Everything I've just said there. It is, and we just need to be mindful of that and just make sure we are on top form for the game itself. He was then asked about Liverpool's recent form. He says, I hope not. From our point of view, I don't think anybody really feels that Liverpool are going to be close to the bottom end of the league. I think everybody is quite aware that they'll be close to the top end of the league. Liverpool are a really good team, and I'd like to think that there are similarities with the teams. We've started a bit slow this season, and Liverpool have as well. I think Liverpool were in every cup final last year. We had a record number of games we've ever had. That, in a way, has probably not helped the start of this season as much as we would like. Hopefully, we are both going to pick up we are both beginning to pick up a bit of form, and let's just hope we pick up the form and burst the bubble of Liverpool's recent upturn in fortune as well. Keep your comments coming in and let us know your thoughts on what's been said. Now, this week, rubbish that some fans would target our own individual players online. Don't like it, never liked it. That's why I don't privately have a Twitter account. We only have a West Ham Network Twitter account. But sometimes these places are really horrible places, not just for footballers, for everyone in the world, kids, adults, you name it. People just like to hide behind a keyboard and say what they want and feel that they have the right to say what they want, but they don't. And some of the stuff that I saw this week targeted towards Sefao, the man who I've got the top for, who I have been criticizing, and there's a difference between being critical and horrible, and people were being horrible and nasty and no reason, and it's a form of bullying and it's disgusting, to be honest. But I don't mind when people criticize for the right reasons. Sefao has not started off this season really well at all. However, he's kicked back in over the last couple of games, but no one deserves the abuse that they get online like he did. And Moyes spoke about Sefao. He says, I don't do social media, so I don't really know exactly how it feels or what it does, but plenty of times I've been abused quite regularly. It's not nice for anybody if that is the case, but overall the club is really supportive of the players. I'm sure the club will be looking after Vladimir as well. Vladimir has played really, really well. If you think you were Vladimir has come from in the last 2 or 3 years and think the journey where he has helped us from a relegation side for long periods to a side pushing for the top of the league, Vladimir has played a huge part in that. And that's something we can't forget as fans, just because, I'm seeing people turning into Tommy Soucek, but you have to remember that Tommy Soucek came in and was the missing piece of the jigsaw that has pushed West Ham on. We kept saying it from the start for over the last 2 seasons. He was the missing piece of the jigsaw for us to move on. Now, that doesn't mean he necessarily guarantees a position in our team, but it just means that, we should appreciate the player and what he gives to the team. And if we think he's not deserving of a start, we're not the manager, but he's definitely deserving of a squad position because he's still a quality player. And it's just how we manage ourselves as fans. It's not nice sometimes, and we just need to be mindful before we say something, especially online. So just it's crap. It's a crap situation, of course, as well. Now, Moyes was asked about West Ham being unbeaten in 5, and he said, I do think we're beginning to go in the right direction, but I saw Sunday as a little bit of a blip because we didn't take 3 points, and it was a game I thought we should have won. And I agree, Moyes, but maybe going to the start of the season, we haven't maybe scored enough goals, maybe took enough chances. All of those things were relative. We also had to go into the game without any real recognised central defenders, really. We had Tilo, but we didn't have anybody else, and that was a little bit similar in the opening 3 or 4 games of the season. We didn't have centre-halves, which certainly had an effect on us. And do you know what? I do agree with that to a certain extent. I've done the preview with my dad earlier on. We were discussing the West Ham and the Liverpool situation. And if you look at the Liverpool game, I think Liverpool won the game against Man City from their defence. They absolutely did, because it was a snatch and grab goal. But defensively, they kept Haaland and Foden and Kevin De Bruyne out of the equation. And that's what they did. And that's how Klopp decided to set up. And Klopp decided to set up as being the underdogs. And there was nothing wrong with that. And it worked dividends for them. And I think it's the same, really, in theory, for West Ham as well. I think we need to make sure that we go and do our job. And it was disappointing not to walk away with 3 points. And I think it's all about the intensity. And I think that's something Moyes will clock with the recent performances in the first half in particular, and also the game against Liverpool at Anfield. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section, what you think of David Moyes' press conference. That's the end of the press conference. There's loads more I could have covered, but I take like 7 or 8 of the most important points and discuss them with you. Let us know your thoughts. Leave a comment in the comment section. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. And of course, if you are interested in becoming a channel member, then please click the membership option. That is your David Moyes press conference today. Great news regarding Aguerd. He will feature before the World Cup. It's just when he will feature. I think it probably will be a European game over the next week. Max Cornet won't be fit enough to make the game, and Kurt Zuma and Craig Dawson, again, we don't really know what's going to happen, so we'll just have to wait till the team news is announced tomorrow. We've got loads of stuff coming your way. Stat Attack tonight. Make sure you join us tomorrow for the opposition preview, your starting 11, our starting 11, match day live, review straight after it. Keep your eyes all over the West Ham network. Thank you for watching. Of course, come on, you Irons.